Hey y'all, I look scary. Like for Halloween, are you ready for a bedtime story? Nonfiction? We're gonna jump right into it. I'm still sipping my morning coffee. And I'm still eating my dinner. Like I'm a slow poke today. Like I'm doing everything in slow motion. And that's okay. I don't think I'm gonna read in slow motion though. I also haven't finished my qigong exercise. Like I started doing the Wu Gong and I got up to alchemizing humanity and then like a neighbor interrupted me. All right, here we go. Chapter 7. If you missed the first 6 chapters, they are on my channel. The love languages. The 5 love languages. I think there's 5 million. But it's an interesting read. I got to admit it. We're up to love language number 4, which is acts of service. Here we go. Michelle sat in the living room, packing away at the laptop, pecking away. She could hear sounds from the utility room where husband Brad was catching up with the piles of laundry. She smiled to herself. In recent days, Brad had cleaned the condo, fixed supper, and run the errands, all because Michelle was in the middle of finals for grad school. It made her feel content, loved. Michelle's primary love language was what I call acts of service. By acts of service, I mean doing things you know your spouse would like you to do. You seek to please her by serving her, to express your love for her by doing things for her. So it was with Doug, whom we met in the last chapter, in the previous chapter. So it was with Doug, whom we met in the last chapter. All right. Such actions as cooking a meal, setting a table, washing dishes, vacuuming, cleaning a commode, changing the baby's diaper, dusting the bookcase, keeping the car in operating condition, paying the bills, trimming the shrubs, walking the dog, changing the cat's litter box, and dealing with landlords and insurance companies are all acts of service. Yeah, please do some acts of service for me, especially the bill paying part. They require thought, planning, time, effort, and energy. If done with a positive spirit, they are indeed expressions of love, but not if done with a negative spirit. Rah. Conversation in a mill town. That's the name of the next section. You can't see it because of the light. All right. I discovered the impact of acts of service in the little village of China Grove, North Carolina. China Grove sits in central North Carolina, originally nestled in chinaberry trees, not far from Andy Griffith's legendary Mayberry, and an hour and a half from Mount Pilot. At the time of this story, China Grove was a textile town with a population of 1,500. I had been away for more than 10 years studying anthropology, psychology, and theology. I was making my semi-annual visit to keep in touch with my roots. Almost everyone I knew, except Dr. Shin and Dr. Smith, worked in the mill. Shin was the medical doctor, and Dr. Smith was the dentist. And of course, there was Preacher Blackburn, who was pastor of the church. For most couples in China Grove, life centered on work and church. The conversation at the mill focused on superintendent's latest decision and how it affected their job in particular. The services at church focused mainly on the anticipated joys of heaven. In that pristine American setting, I discovered love language number 4. I was standing under a chinaberry tree after church on Sunday when Mark and Mary approached me. I didn't recognize either of them. I assumed they had grown up while I was away. Introducing himself, Mark said, "I understand you have been studying counseling." I smiled and said, "Well, a little bit." "I have a question," he said. "Can a couple make it in marriage if they disagree on everything?" It was one of those theoretical questions that I knew had a personal root. I brushed aside the theoretical nature of his question, and I asked him a personal question. How long have you been married? 2 years, he responded, and we don't agree on anything. Give me some examples, I continued. Well, for one thing, Mary doesn't like me to go hunting. I work all week in the mill, and I like to go hunting on Saturdays. Not every Saturday, but when hunting season is in. Mary had been silent until this point when she interjected. When hunting season is out, he goes fishing, and besides that, he doesn't hunt on just Saturdays. He takes off from work to go hunting. Once or twice a year, I take off 2 or 3 days from work to go hunting in the mountains with some buddies. That sounds nice. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, he said. What else do you disagree on? I asked. Well, she wants me to go to church all the time. I don't mind going on Sunday morning, but Sunday night I like to rest. It's all right if she wants to go, but I don't think I ought to have to go. Again, Mary spoke up. You don't really want me to go either, she said. You fuss every time I walk out the door. I knew that things weren't supposed to be getting this hot under a shady tree in front of a church. As a young aspiring counselor, I feared that I was getting in over my head. But having been trained to ask questions and listen, I continued. What other things have you do you disagree on? This time Mary answered. He wants me to stay home all day and work in the house. She said he gets mad if I go see my mother, go shopping, or something else. I don't mind her going to see her mother, he said, but when I come home, I like to see the house cleaned up. Some weeks she doesn't make the bed up for 3 or 4 days. And half the time she hasn't even started supper. I work hard and I like to eat when I get home. Besides that, the house is a wreck, he continued. The baby's things are all over the floor. The baby is dirty, and I don't like filth. Hmm. She seems to be happy to live in a pig pen. Dang, he's going all out. We don't have very much, and we live in a small mill house, but at least it could be clean. What's wrong with his helping me around the house? Mary asked. He acts like a husband shouldn't do anything around the house. Ooh. All he wants to do is work and hunt. He expects me to do everything. Dang. Thinking that I had better start looking for solutions rather than prying for more disagreements, I looked at Mark and I asked, Mark, when you were dating before you got married, did you go hunting every Saturday? Most Saturdays, he said, but I always got home in time to go see her on Saturday night. Most of the time, I'd get home in time to wash my truck before I went to go see her. I didn't like to go see her with a dirty truck. Mary, how old were you when you got married? I asked. I was 18, she said. We got married right after I finished high school. Mark graduated a year before me and he was working. During your senior year in high school, how often did Mark come to see you? I inquired. He came almost every night, she said. In fact, he came in the afternoon and would often stay to have supper with my family. He would help me do my chores around the house, and then we'd sit and talk until supper time. Mark, what did the two of you do after supper? I asked. Mark looked up with a sheepish smile and said, well, the regular dating stuff, you know. But if I had a school project, Mary said, he'd help me with it. Sometimes we worked hours on school projects. I was in charge of the Christmas float for the senior class. He helped me for 3 weeks every afternoon. He was great. I switched gears and focused on the third area of their disagreement. Mark, when you were dating, did you go to church with Mary on Sunday nights? Yes, I did, he said. If I didn't go to church with her, I couldn't see her that night. Her father was strict that way. I thought I was beginning to see some light, but I wasn't sure Mark and Mary were seeing it. I turned to Mary and asked, when you were dating Mark, what convinced you that he really loved you? What made him different from the other guys you had dated? It was the way he helped me with everything, she said. He was so eager to help me. None of the other guys ever expressed any interest in those things. But it seemed natural for Mark. He even helped me wash dishes when he had supper at our house. He was the most wonderful person I had ever met. But after we got married, that changed. He didn't help at all. Wow. Turning to Mark, I asked, why do you think you did all those things um, for and with her before you were married? It just seemed natural for me, he said. It's what I would want someone to do for me if she cared about me. And why do you think you stopped helping her after you got married? I asked. Thanks for the thumbs up. Well, I guess I expected it to be like my family. Dad worked and mom took care of the things at the house. I never saw my dad vacuum or wash the dishes or do anything around the house. Well, then why'd you do it when you were dating? Isn't that funny? Since mom didn't work outside the house, she kept everything spotless, did all the cooking, washing, and ironing. And I guess I just thought that was the way it was supposed to be. Oh my goodness. Hoping that Mark was seeing what I was seeing, I asked, Mark, a moment ago, what did you hear Mary say when I asked her what really made her feel loved by you when you were dating? He responded, helping her with things and doing things with her. By the way, y'all, I need one more subscriber to get to 2,300. If you're not subscribed, that would make my night. So, can you understand how she could feel unloved when you stopped helping her with things? He was nodding. Yes. I continued. It was a normal thing for you to follow the model of your mother and father in marriage. Almost all of us tend to do that, but your behavior toward Mary was a radical change from your courtship. The one thing that had assured her of your love disappeared. Then I turned to Mary and I asked, what did you hear Mark say when I asked, why did you do all those things to help Mary when you were dating? He said that it came naturally to him, she replied. That's right, I said. And he also said that is what he would want someone to do for him if she loved him. He was doing those things for you and with you because, in his mind, that's the way anyone shows love. Once you were married and living in your own house, he had expectations of what you would do if you loved him. You would keep the house clean, you would cook, and so on. In brief, you would do things for him to express your love. When did he not see you doing those things? When he did not see you doing those things, do you understand why he would feel unloved? Mary was nodding now, too. I continued. My guess is that the reason you are both so unhappy in your marriage is that neither of you is showing your love by doing things for each other. Mary said, I think you're right. And the reason I stopped doing things for him is because I resented his demanding spirit. It was as if he was trying to make me be like his mother. True, I said, and no one likes to be forced to do anything. In fact, love is always freely given. Love cannot be demanded. We can request things of each other, but we must never demand anything. Requests give direction to love, but demands stop the flow of love. Shall I read that again? Requests give direction to love, but demands stop the flow of love. Hmm. Mark broke in and said, she's right. I was demanding and critical of her because I was disappointed in her as a wife. I know I said some cruel things and I understand how she could be upset with me. Dang, he's going into a counseling session right there. Can you imagine seeing your old friends from high school and just yeah. I think things can be turned around rather easily at this juncture, I said. I pulled two cards out of my pocket. Let's try something. I want each of you to sit on the steps of the church and make a request list. Mark, I want you to list 3 or 4 things that if Mary chose to do them would make you feel loved when you walk into the house in the afternoon. If making the bed is important to you, then put it down. Mary, I want you to make a list of 3 or 4 things that you would like to have Mark's help in doing. Things that, if he chose to do them, would help you know that he loved you. I'm big on lists. They force us to think concretely. Yeah, I'm big on lists too. After 5 to 6 minutes, they handed me their lists. Mark's list read, make up the beds every day, have the baby's face washed when I get home, put her shoes in the closet before I get home, Try to have supper at least started before I get home so that we could eat within 30 to 45 minutes after I get home. I read the list out loud and said to Mark, I'm understanding you to say that if Mary chooses to do these four things, you will view them as acts of love toward you. That's right, he said. If she did those four things, it would go a long way in changing my attitude toward her. Then I read Mary's list. I wish he would wash the car every week instead of expecting me to do it. He even stopped washing the car? Oh my goodness. I wish he would change the baby's diaper after he gets home in the afternoon, especially if I'm working on supper. Oh my god. Good point. Like, uh, changing a baby's diaper while you're cooking could be unsanitary. Hey! Right? I've gotten really good at washing my own car, but it took me years because in my mind it was like a man thing to do. Because so many of my friends have had boyfriends that wash and detail their car. Um, and husbands. And if they don't do it themselves, then they send the car to get detailed and washed. But finally, I'm like, whatever, I'm my own hero. And the next thing is, I wish he would vacuum the house for me once a week. And one more thing, I wish he would mow the grass every week in the summer and not let it get so tall that I'm ashamed of our yard. He stopped mowing the grass. What? His courtship was a lie. I said, Mary, I am understanding you to say that if Mark chooses to do these four things, you would take his actions as genuine expressions of love toward you. I would, she said. It would be wonderful if he would do those things for me. Does this list seem reasonable to you, Mark? Is it feasible for you to do these things? Yes, he said. Mary, do the things on Mark's list seem reasonable and feasible for you to do? Could you do them if you chose to? Yes, she said. I could do those things. In the past, I have felt overwhelmed because no matter what I did, it was never enough. I turned to Mark. Mark, you understand that what I am suggesting is a change from the model of marriage that your mother and father had. Oh, my father mowed the grass and washed the car. Oh, busted! But he didn't change the diapers or vacuum the floor, right? Right, he said. You don't have to do these, you understand. If you do them, however, it would be an act of love to Mary. And to Mary, I said, you understand that you don't have to do these things, but if you want to express love for Mark, here are four ways that you can that'll be meaningful to him. I want to suggest that you try these for 2 months and see if it helps. At the end of 2 months, you may want to add additional requests to your list and share them with each other. I would not add more than one request per month, however. This really makes sense, Mary said. I think you have helped us, added Mark. They took each other by the hand and walked toward their car. Is he exaggerating in this story? That sounds so picturesque. I said to myself out loud, I think this is what church is all about. I think I'm going to enjoy being a counselor. I have never forgotten the insight I gained under that china berry tree. Such a cute story. After years of research, I have realized what a unique situation Mark and Mary presented to me. I think so. Seldom do I meet a couple who both have the same love language. For both Mary and Mark, acts of service was their primary love language. Hundreds of individuals can identify with either Mark or Mary and acknowledge that the primary way that they feel loved is by acts of service on the part of their spouse. Putting away shoes, changing a baby's diaper, washing dishes or car, vacuuming or mowing speaks volumes to the individual whose primary love language is acts of service. You may be wondering, if Mark and Mary had the same primary love language, why were they having so much difficulty? The answer lies in the fact that they were speaking different dialects. They were doing things for each other, but not the most important things. When they were forced to think concretely, they easily identified their specific dialects. For Mary, it was washing the car, changing the baby's diaper, vacuuming the floor, and mowing the grass. Whereas for Mark, It was making up the bed, washing the baby's face, putting the shoes in the closet, and having supper underway when he got home from work. Okay, we know that. You didn't have to say that again. But anyway. Um, when they started speaking the right dialects, their love tanks began to fill. Since acts of service was their primary love language, learning each other's specific dialect was relatively easy for them. I will say, forced acts of service upon you sucks though. And actually, the couple of times that someone I was dating did wash my car, they were so controlling about it. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, no, 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 that's okay. Like, I'm like, please don't take the stuff out of my glove box. And then it was like all over my seat. I'm like, why? And then I got paranoid that they were like putting cameras in my car because I'm always paranoid about that because I'm famous, right? No, because creeps do that, you know? Anyway, before we leave Mark and Mary, I would like to make three other observations. First, they illustrate clearly that what we do for each other before marriage is no indication of what we will do after marriage. Before marriage, we are carried along by the force of the in love obsession. After marriage, we revert to being the people we were before we fell in love. The oxytocin literally wears off in 2 years. 2 years is the studied biological chemistry about that. Our actions are influenced by the model of our parents, our own personality, our perceptions of love, our emotions, needs and desires. Don't forget addictions. Only one thing is certain about our behavior: it will not be the same behavior we exhibited when we were caught up in being in love. That leads me to the second truth illustrated by Mark and Mary. Love is a choice and cannot be coerced. Mark and Mary were criticizing each other's behavior and getting nowhere. Once they decided to make a request of each other rather than demands, their marriage began to turn around. Criticism and demands tend to drive wedges. With enough criticism, you may get acquiescence from your spouse. He may do what you want, but probably it will not be an expression of love. You can give guidance to love by making requests. I wish you would wash the car, change the baby's diaper, mow the grass, but you cannot create the will to love. Each of us must decide daily to love or not to love our spouses. If we choose to love, then expressing it in a way in which our spouse requests will make our love most effective emotionally. And people won't feel inadequate. Where am I? Oh, yeah. There is a third truth, which only the mature lover will be able to hear. Are you a mature lover? Are you able to hear this? Open up your ears. My spouse's criticisms about my behavior provide me with the clearest clue to her primary love language. People tend to criticize their spouse most loudly in the area where they themselves have the deepest emotional need. Their criticism is an ineffective way of pleading for love. If we understand that, it may help us process their criticism in a more productive manner. A wife may say to her husband after he gives her a criticism, "It sounds like that is extremely important to you. Could you explain why it is so crucial?" Criticism often needs clarification. "Hey, my like disappeared. What happened? Give me my like back, YouTube." Criticism often needs clarification. Initiating such a conversation may eventually turn the criticism into a request rather than demand. Who was watching? Someone that washed my car? Mary's constant condemnation of Mark's hunting was not an expression of her hatred for the sport of hunting. Yay, I got a like back. She blamed hunting as the thing that kept him from washing the car, vacuuming the house, and mowing the grass. When he learned to meet her need for love by speaking her emotional love language, that's an important point. She became free to support him in his hunting. Doormat or lover? I have served him for 20 years. I have waited on him hand and foot. I have been his doormat while he ignored me, mistreated me, and humiliated me in front of my friends and family. I don't hate him. I wish him no ill, but I resent him and I no longer wish to live with him. That wife has performed acts of service for 20 years, but they have not been expressions of love. They were doing it out of fear, guilt, and resentment. And because he said, if you don't do this, I'm leaving you. A doormat is an inanimate object. You can wipe your feet on it, step on it, kick it around, or whatever you like. It has no will of its own. It stops you from bringing dirt in the house. It can be your servant, but not your lover. When we treat our spouses as objects, we preclude the possibility of love. I didn't know that's how you can use preclude in a sentence. I think it's supposed to say exclude. Maybe I'm wrong. Manipulation by guilt, if you were a good spouse, you would do this for me, is not the language of love. Coercion by fear, you will do this or you'll be sorry, or if you loved me, you'd do this, is also coercive, actually, is alien to love. No person should ever be a doormat. We may allow ourselves to be used, but we are in fact creatures of emotions, thoughts, and desires, and we have the ability to make decisions and take action. Allowing oneself to be used or manipulated by another is not an act of love. It is, in fact, an act of treason. You are allowing him or her to develop inhumane habits. Love says, I love you too much to let you treat me this way. It is not good for you or me. Aw. Learning the love language of acts of service will require some of us to re examine our stereotypes on the roles of husbands and wives. These are changing, but models from our past can linger. Mark was doing what most of us do naturally. He was following the role model of his father and mother, but he wasn't even doing that well. His father washed the car and mowed the grass. Mark did not, but that was the mental image he had of what a husband should do. He definitely did not picture himself vacuuming floors and changing the baby's diapers. To his credit, he was willing to break from his stereotype when he realized how important it was to marry. That is necessary for all of us if our spouse's primary love language asks something of us that seems inappropriate to our role. Due to the sociological changes of the past 40 years, we no longer cling to certain notions of the male and female role in American society. Yet that does not mean that all stereotypes have been eradicated. It means rather that the number of stereotypes has multiplied. Before the days of widespread media influence, a person's idea of what a husband or wife should do and how he or she should relate was influenced primarily by one's own parents. With the pervasiveness of television, increased mobility, growing cultural diversity, and the proliferation of single parent families, however, role models are often influenced by force outside of the home. Whatever your perceptions, chances are your spouse perceives marital roles somewhat differently than you do. A willingness to examine and change stereotypes is necessary in order to express love more effectively. Remember, there are no rewards for maintaining stereotypes, but there are tremendous benefits to meeting the emotional needs of your spouse. Recently, a wife said to me, Dr. Chapman, I'm going to send all of my friends to your seminar. And why would you do that? I inquired. Because it has radically changed our marriage, she said. Before the seminar, Bob never helped me with anything. We both started our careers right after college, but it was always my role to do everything at the house. It was as if it never crossed his mind to help with anything. After the seminar, he started asking me, what can I do to help you this evening? It was amazing. At first, I couldn't believe it was real, but it has persisted for 3 years now. You go, girl. I'll have to admit, there were some trying and humorous times in those early weeks because he didn't know how to do anything. I can relate. I don't know how to do anything sometimes. The first time he did the laundry, he used undiluted bleach instead of regular detergent. Oh my God. Our blue towels came out with white polka dots. Dang. Then there was the first time he used the garbage disposal. It sounded strange, and shortly afterwards, soap bubbles started emerging from the drain of the adjoining sink. He didn't know what was happening until I turned the garbage disposal off, reached my hand inside, and retrieved the remains of a new bar of soap, now the size of a quarter. But he was loving me and my language, and my tank was filling up. Now he knows how to do everything around the house and is always helping me. We have much more time together because I don't have to work all the time. Believe me, I have learned his language and I keep his tank full. Is it really that simple? Simple. Yes. Easy? No. Bob had to work hard at tearing down the stereotype with which he had lived for 35 years. It didn't come easy, but he would tell you that learning the primary love language of your spouse and choosing to speak it makes a tremendous difference in the emotional climate of a marriage. Now let's move on to love language number 5. All right, y'all. Um, there's just like a little exercise at the end of this chapter. Many acts of service will involve household chores, but not all. What are some non-chore ways of serving your mate? That's a question. Um, if your spouse's love language is acts of service, one, make a list of all the requests your spouse has made of you over the past few weeks. Select one of these each week and do it as an expression of love. Two, print note cards with the following. Today I will show my love for you by ... Complete the sentence with one of the following: picking up the clutter, paying the bills, fixing something that's been broken a long time, weeding the garden, bonus points if it's a chore that's been put off. Give your spouse a love note accompanied by the acts of service every 3 days for a month. I say you do that to yourself. Write a love letter if you're single, write a love letter to yourself. Today, I'm going to show my love for you by organizing these bills or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, thanks for the thumbs up. I challenge you. Do some acts of service for yourself, because I know there's some single people out there that are watching this channel. Do some acts of service for yourself. Write yourself a love note. Today, I am going to love you by sewing that sweater that you wanted to sew. I started making a pocket on this yellow sweater that is comfortable, but it looks weird. And I decided a pocket would make it not look so weird. You know, like black thins you out, like in the tummy area, but that one, like in the tummy area, it's like, so I might as well add a pocket, right? I'm excited about it. Kevin, you'd much rather write to yourself. I hear you, bro. Number 3, exercise. Ask your spouse to make a list of 10 things he or she would like for you to do during the next month. Ooh, bold. Then ask your spouse to prioritize them by numbering them 1 to 10, 1 being the most important, blah, blah, blah. Use the list to plan your strategy for a month of love. Get ready to live with a happy spouse. Hubba, hubba. While your spouse is away, get the children to help you with some acts of service. And you could do that too, like a priority of list from 1 to 10 of what would love you the most. How can you love yourself the most? All right, while your spouse is away, get the children to help you with some acts of service for him. When he walks in the door, join the children in shouting, "Surprise, we love you." Then share your act of service. I used to love, making breakfast in bed for my family. Like that was so much fun when I was a kid. What one act of service has your spouse nagged you about consistently? Why not decide to see the nag as a tag? Your spouse spouse is tagging this as a really important thing to him or her. If you choose to do it in as expression of love, it is worth more than 1,000 roses. So what are you nagging yourself to do? I'm still eating my dinner. Oh my god. I've been craving peanut butter so much lately. It's crazy. I recently found out it had something in it that was nutritious, so that like gave me the excuse to eat it more. What was it? It wasn't protein. No, it's an everything bagel with peanut butter and hemp seeds and chia seeds. And there was like a leaf on it because I have it's sitting on my salad that I haven't finished. Not a leaf. A leaf. It is a leaf, I guess. Romaine lettuce. Romaine lettuce leaf. Leaf of lettuce? Yeah, it's called a leaf. What is it that peanut butter has that I was surprised about? Is it magnesium? Someone needs to look that up. Anyway, there's 4 more exercises here. If your requests to your mate come across as nags, oh wait, did I say that? Oh no, it's another nag. Okay. If your requests to your mate come across as nags or put downs, hey, Astral alumnus Pastician, zinc? That wasn't it though. That doesn't ring a bell. There must be something else in it, but that's cool that there's zinc in it. Huh. If your requests to your mate come across as nags or put downs, try writing them in words that would be less offensive to them. Share this revised wording with your spouse. For example, the yard always looks so nice and I really appreciate your work. I'd love to thank you in advance for mowing the lawn this week before Julie and Ben come over for dinner. Is that a little passive aggressive though? I don't know. Your husband might even respond, "Where's the lawnmower? I can't wait." Try it and see it. Maybe it works. Yeah. Number 7, perform a major act of service like organizing the home office and then post a sign that reads to so and so with love and sign your name like it's a gift, the act of service. And next, if you have more money than time, hire someone to do the acts of service that you know your spouse would like for you to do, such as the yard work or a once a month deep cleaning of your home or car detailing. And lastly, ask your spouse to tell you the daily acts of service that would really speak love to him or her. Seek to work these into your daily schedule. Little things really do mean a lot. Thanks so much for the thumbs up. Yay. All right. Well, next time, I guess it's been like a month since I did the other love language, right? Um so the next chapter, next time I do try to do live readings once a week, and I think Friday has been the day. Anyway, I've been like doing so many different things. But anyway, chapter 8, physical touch, love language number 5 is going to be the next chapter. If you're really excited about me reading about it, definitely nag me. Definitely nudge me because I want to express my love through reading to you if being read to is your love language, which I don't even think is on the list of these love languages. And I don't think it's an act of service. I think it's like being sung to, being read to. I think that's a love language. I think that counts almost as physical touch. That's what's coming up, because it's like intimate. It's like intimacy, right? Anyway, I need a bookmark. I need a bookmark, people. So what do you think? I'm about to get going, but what? Because I really gotta go to sleep. Kitty Cat's been waking me up so early, and I'm just like not into it at all. I did go back to sleep after she woke me up, but it just makes me feel less productive because it's like I like to wake up and do morning rituals, not go back to sleep. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I do acts of service for my kitty cat. Oh, we're getting people up on the stream now that I'm leaving. We got like 5 people here. Hello, introduce yourselves. Please subscribe. Please give a like. I did just release 2 little shorts. Who knows? Maybe I have 1,000 new subscribers. That would be amazing. I was just trying to get 2 subscribers today. I got 1. I don't know if I got the other one because I was like 2 away from 2,300. And my goal is to get 2,500 by December 1st. Can we do it? Can we do it? Maybe. And I want 10 members. I've got 1 right now. If I just get 1 more, I'll be able to add more emojis, which I'm really excited about. Anyway, that's your live reading. I guess I can eat with you, even though I think I'm just going to save this salad for tomorrow. I'm so excited they actually had good cucumbers at Publix. Y'all are just chilling, so I'm going to look up what's in peanut butter. I think it's magnesium. Is magnesium in peanut butter? Yes! 49 milligrams. That's what I thought it was. That's how much percentage is that of your daily? It's 12%. That's a lot. Mm-hmm. A quarter cup has 63 milligrams. That's 15%. Wow. Y'all know that magnesium is so underrated. You know, I didn't learn about that until a couple of years ago. My friend Willow taught me. She's like a medicine woman. And at first she said, I probably need potassium. And then she's like, wait, you need magnesium because they work together. And then I was reading an article about how magnesium is needed for like hundreds of functions in the human body, like maybe only second to vitamin C, which is like thousands of functions. So, yeah. What else has magnesium? I think cabbage has. Does cabbage have a lot of magnesium? Cabbage have magnesium. Okay, who thinks it's more than peanut butter or less? $30 to 35%, a half cup. That's a lot. So if you have 1.5 cups of cabbage, you've got all the magnesium you need. Dang. We gotta get our cabbage on. What about broccoli? Does broccoli have magnesium? I know it has beta caryophyllene, an amazing terpene. What was I saying? Broccoli, magnesium. Can you tell food is my love language? See, I don't even think that's one of the ones that he lists. How could food not be a love language? I mean, what would you classify that as? 31 milligrams in 148 grams. I think that's even more than cabbage. Wow. So what's like 1 broccoli head? What would that be? Oh, chocolate even has magnesium. Wait. 1 cup. Dude, 1 cup of spinach has of cooked spinach, so that really cooks down, 158 milligrams, which is 37%. Dude. So green leafy vegetables, which I eat all the time. Hmm. That's cool. Okay, I'm getting lost in nutrition research. So yeah. What else y'all want to talk about? I'm about to, I guess I'll eat a little bit more of my computer, my cucumber. Because like I said, I'm about to watch like more videos on the Israeli Palestine stuff because that's what's going on right now. And then some people are saying there's like lies about what's going on. It's like We don't know if what we see in the media is true or false. And we have to protect ourselves because lies are war. Lies are warfare. Lies kill us. Lies, I think, take our spirits out of our bodies because if we believe the lies, then our spirits are like, what are you doing? We don't want to live in a lie. And believing a lie is lie. You become a liar. So we have to be really careful and protect our hearts and learn how to be a lie detector. Because if you receive the lies, it's like the music you listen to. It's like you are receiving the vibration, right? And if that vibration is out of harmony with your spirit, then your spirit is not going to hang out with you. And I think, that's why a lot of people feel crazy. A lot of people feel like, they have multiple personalities when they don't have official multiple personalities because it's how connected your spirit is with your body. Because we all have spirits, we all have bodies. Okay, maybe you don't believe that, and that's okay too. We have emotions, we have energy, right? And so I am like the moodiness that I'm constantly feeling, I know has to do with how connected my spirit is with my body. And there's all different levels. Sometimes the ego wants to take over. Sometimes it's really hard to do mundane tasks with your spirit. Like your spirit doesn't want to because it knows that like there's so much about the society and the stuff that we do that is useless and filled with lies and just not fun for the spirit. So it's like how do you keep it flowing in this 2D world when you've got this like 4D, 5D energy that's just like, this is so boring and this is so limited. And when are we just going to be flying around, and astral projecting everywhere, right? And yeah, YouTube says it's about to like throw an ad in here, just so you know. Talk to me, people. What's going on? You're being so quiet. I finished the reading, but I'm still hanging out because people are here. Eating my cucumber. Finally finishing my big cup of coffee from this morning. Y'all want to do some qigong? Close the night with some qigong. Right, let's alchemize humanity. You ready? Bring your feet shoulder width apart. Bring your hands in front of your belly button like two fists and circle around, following it with your hips. Thanks for being here. This is how we fill up on energy the other direction, no matter how drained you get. Like Shermeagle. Hey, do you blame him? He was like 1,000 years old or something. I mean, why does it sound like the word adultery or adulterous? Maybe being an adult is a lie. Maybe we're just all children. All right, we're going to open up wide with our feet, bend, and lift the left arm all the way up to the ear and just let it drop down like a feather. Go back and forth. I don't have a lot of space, but I'm staying here. Just I would keep my head down if I had more space, just so you know. Do you feel the chi, everyone? Are you getting gonged out there? Breathe. This has to be a love language in itself. Gonging? Come on. Again, I think it probably counts as physical touch. Because trust me, when someone's gonged, their physical touch is way better. Oh my gosh. Can't believe I just said that. All right, we are going to reach across the body now. Nice and slow. I was teaching Qigong to one of my neighbor's kids today, and it was so cute. He goes, "Oh my gosh, is this supposed to make me feel so happy? Like, so happy?" I say, "Yeah." He's like, "I feel so happy doing it." How cute is that? Maybe I could teach this in schools. I don't know. Gonna help us sleep. Live reading and Qigong. That's a good combo, huh? I lost count. Does anyone know how many we're at? I love it, Astral. Remember to gong all the time. Because there is no time. Only gong. Oh, let's do some Wuji, which involves taking a bite of my peanut butter with lettuce on it. Don't judge me. I eat weird things. Oh, like this thing? Thank you all so much for all the comments you've been leaving on my videos. It really helps, I think. Not only is it fun to interact with you, but I think it recommends my videos more when people comment on them. And I can use all the help I can get because they are suppressing me. Like, it's so annoying to see the video numbers go down, especially when I talk about hemp stuff. But with enough love and support, we will part this sea, get rid of the dragons. From sea to shining. One more minute. Are y'all doing the Wuji Gung with me? Are you swimming in the atmosphere, in the cosmos? Are you experiencing cosmosis? Like Moses? What do y'all think about Halloween? I think it's boring. Every day is dress up day. The world needs a lot of gonging on Halloween. All that candy, oh my god. I'll be the one that's got lemon juice shots at my front door. Would you like to drink some bitter lemon juice? I could just be a witch. You must drink this lemon juice. Oh my gosh. My upper back's like, will you please stop editing videos? No. Algorithms. I must put videos out every day. Oh my gosh. There's so many that I'm in the middle of that I want to finish so badly. There's only so much time in a day. So much I could stand of EMFs. All right, one more minute. I know I keep saying that, but let's just do a whole 5. I think one more minute will be a whole 5, or at least 3. I hear you, Kevin. I thought it was billions. And then some people are saying that Netanyahu knew and he didn't stop it. It's just like we don't know who's a warmonger and who's a peacemaker out there, but it's all Babylon right now until we stand up and create that heaven on earth that we know is possible. It's going to take all of us, like a loaf of bread. We don't want just one part to rise. Yeah, it's interesting to see what was going on. Was the war of terror still going on? The 9/11 offspring? Well, it has been 2 more minutes of the Wuji, and I think it is time to wrap this video up. I'm so grateful for this moment, for sharing this chi with you all. Chi live reading. I love when I feel the chi vibrations. My heart is vibrating for the world right now. Wow, we've been on here an hour. Crazy. Because I had a lot of caffeine today. Hope you all are feeling good. Thanks for stopping by. Feel the good vibes. If you're in Atlanta, come to Golden Drops tomorrow at 3 to 5. I'd love to share the energy with you because, as you have probably seen in my last 2 shorts, I am alluding to how draining it is to perform live by myself, carrying all the equipment. It's all good. Yeah, it's important to process with each other, Kevin. Blessings, blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Thank you, God, for this moment, because it's a miracle. Every moment is a miracle. We just got to slow down and not let it pass us by with our judgment and criticism, right? Love y'all. See you Monday morning for some gonging, 11:30 a.m. Later.